Hi, welcome to the Natives Cookery video. In the next few minutes I'm going to show you how to make pork Dijonnaise. The ingredients that you'll need will be red cabbage, Dijon mustard, white wine, red wine vinegar, some cream, some shallots, butter, some raisins, a little bit of chicken stock, some green beans, some brown sugar, an apple, a few potatoes, and some pork. Before we start, the first thing we're going to do is make our garnish. I'm going to get my pan on the stove on a medium heat. To that I'm going to add some brown sugar. I'm also just going to add a really small drop of water. While our sugar is caramelising, I'm just going to quickly slice up these apples. We want them nice and thin. Now I've sliced the apples, I'm just going to quickly throw them into the pan with the sugar. They need to remain in there just for a few minutes. We cook them in this pan until there's hardly any liquid left. Once they're ready, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to leave them on a bit of tin foil to cool down. The first thing we're going to do for our dish is prepare our red cabbage. Quite simply, the first thing I'm going to do is slice up this red cabbage. Now I'm going to put the cabbage in the pan, and to the cabbage I'm going to add our raisins and our red wine vinegar. That goes on the stove and that'll probably take about 30 minutes to cook. The next thing we're going to get ready is our potatoes. Just going to cook them in a pan with some water, and that can go on the stove. A little bit of seasoning can go into the pan as well. It's important to remember that when cooking potatoes, you should cook them from cold water. The next thing we need to do is cook off our pork. Before we put the pork in the oven, we need to seal them off in a hot pan. There we go, they've got a nice little bit of colour on them. Now they're just going to go in the oven for around about 10 minutes. While they're cooking in the oven, it gives us just about enough time to make our sauce. First thing I'm going to do is chop up some shallots. The shallots are going to go in this pan with all our butter. We're going to cook them until they're nice and soft. So the shallots have softened up nicely, and to that I'm going to add our white wine, our chicken stock, and a few generous teaspoons of Dijon mustard. Now we want to bring this to the boil and let it simmer for about 2 minutes. While we're waiting for our sauce to boil, I'm just going to get the green beans in the pan. The sauce has now come to the boil. I'm going to let it just simmer for a few more minutes while everything else comes ready. Everything's almost ready. The last thing I need to do is add the cream to my reduced sauce and stir that in. The pork's now been in the oven for about 12 minutes, so we're going to take that out. The first thing I'm going to do is get some potatoes on the plate. Then I'm going to bring our pork in. I'm going to add our greens and some of our lovely red cabbage. I'm going to ladle onto here some of our lovely sauce and top that off with a few of our caramelised apples. There we go, pork Dijonnaise.